Can you comment on the idea of the no guru guru?
Most people are no gurus. It's everybody we know. What do you mean?
Specifically someone like J. Krishnamurti.
Well, I'm not familiar with his teachings, but I've heard a little bit about his viewpoint. Because there are people that follow the kind of viewpoint. And that viewpoint is not too far from, say a certain level of understanding. So it's related to a higher understanding. Let's say it's related to that. I don't think we'd have a J. Krishnamurti outside of the influence of India. That means steeped in, let's say, philosophic, karma, all schools, obviously. He was born into some kind of tradition, theosophical or whatever, and was exposed to much of these things. And obviously he's educated, you know. He doesn't seem to be a street person. He has the language of India. So he's from the wisdom of India, certainly. Perhaps we can even say maybe a type of renunciate, Hindu wisdom. Understanding of, you know, life and reality. And so that's the origin of the Buddha. So a lot of what he says is very, very parallel to the Buddha's teachings. And if we take, for instance, like say the teachings in the Heart Sutra, it's about no this, no, nothing. So if you take a page of that, like the paragraph of the Heart Sutra, that is the Heart Sutra, which is a form of negation, enlightenment-based negation, then you can see where, let's say, somebody like the no guru or gurus come from. You don't need anything. But that's easier said than done in the real world. Some people need to hear that. From who? No guru. Anyone who's willing to stand up and make a statement, would we consider that? A guru, no guru, or a guru. So you have the gurus and the no gurus. And we can also say that part of the problem for a lot of people is you have establishment gurus. And they're gurus because someone calls them a guru. And that's normal. It's normal. Like the musicians, you have the musicians. They trained, and they smell like musicians. They play like musicians. You know, they are musicians. And you have the no music musicians. And they're a whole different species. Now, which is higher, which is better, it's really up to the individual to determine. The no guru or the guru. Now, apart from the traditions, which more or less formalize the concept and the notion and the recognition of guru in terms of a form of knowledge, a knowledge holder, whether it's against the school or for the school, these are knowledge holders. Like J. Krishnamurti would be a knowledge holder, so he'd be a guru, academic at least, right? Deny it all he wants, or anybody can deny it, but it is what it is. He's a spokesperson for a viewpoint, and he's formal. He's also into giving people meditation, so traditionally, who are the people that teach people meditations? Right? Meditators, who are they? Right. So you can't escape it. Yeah. The appearance of a guru is the guru. The word and non-word of the guru is the guru too. Right? That means a light giver, some kind of light giving. So, is Krishnamurti up there bringing in darkness, and or is he taking a stand for some kind of noble sense of light bringing to peace? So he obviously is guru. So regardless of what he says, disregard what he says, because that's what he's asking you to do. Disregard everything he says. Disregard his appearance. Disregard, his message. Right? Right? And, you have this paradox. But yet you still have also a view. You have a view. And you have that kind of guru, and then in the West, you have the experts are the gurus. So then whoever's expert, whoever's knowledgeable to any degree of accomplishment, master, technician or something, is guru. The one you can depend upon for the Dharma, the way, the way to do it, the way to fix it, the way to get it done. Here we have a lot of PhDs and are considered gurus, and the authorities is because they have PhD. So it means they spent a lot of time reading a lot of books and a lot of different authorities, so they may be counted upon to summarize the authorities and thus be counted amongst the authorities. Representing the authorities, you're an authority. Representing any kind of teachings for or against enlightenment, you're an authority, so to speak. Right? That is your voice. Now going deeper, going to my own roots, spiritualist roots, knowledge isn't enough. Knowledge is not enough. Anybody can get knowledge. Anybody can read books, which is, I think, one of the no guru's charges. It's not about books, it's not about anything. It's not about who you see, it's not about anybody saying anything for or against it. So it's not about anything. You see or don't see. But going back to the spiritualist, less, paradoxical or crazy point of view. Say, no, you know who brings you the healing. Doesn't matter what you call him. You know what it is, you get it, and then that's what it is. Yeah. And you know who gave it to you, and you can call him whatever you want. A medicine man, a witch doctor, you can call him anything. Yeah. A healer. Yeah. And that means you recognize that something is naturally flowing from them, and you can depend upon going there for it. I'm considered a certain kind of musician. When you come to my gigs, you get a certain presence, certain demonstration of music. Maybe a demonstration of virtuosity, maybe a demonstration of madness and insanity. I'm not sure. It depends on who you are and where you're from and how you read it. Yeah. Yeah. So then you have direct experience that could be considered guru. Yeah. And that is something that happens in you, so then you can say the direct experience you may have with anything that is so extraordinary is guru, but then that's you. Okay. So the paradox goes deeper than appearance. We can't deny that there's no light giver. That would be stupid. It's like denying there's no oxygen. We don't have. It's denying that you don't have any parentage. So to say that all gurus are this, that, or whatever, it's like to say that all mothers are garbage. Just because you had a couple of bad experiences with your own mother. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And one of the, I guess you might say, atrocities that there are, against mankind is to judge a whole race by something an idiot does. And so when you say all the gurus are nothing, you're killing everybody because you have to hear yourself kill everybody. To be your kind of authority, you have to kill everybody. And put you, if that's not the height of conceit, then that puts you right up at the top there. All doctors are garbage. No, can't say that. That's not true. it's not scientifically a fact, it's not spiritually correct. Because anybody at any point, living being, can be used by the Spirit, inspired, right, to help and save somebody through extraordinary means. And so, this is psychically known. We can't explain it beyond the point, but it can happen. Okay. So to discount, to obstruct potential, human, spiritual, creative potential in this kind of rhetoric, I think it's foolish, also not true. And creating something else, creating doubt, okay? Not illuminating anything, but just creating doubt. Because you have doubt, then your doubt comes out. I don't have any doubts. Gurus are everywhere. Your mother's a guru. You know, your family's got gurus in there. Somebody's got something, more or less than the others. Yeah. So guru is then a very generic term. But in the traditions, esoteric traditions, that's very specific to a person that is carrying and holding a certain level of knowledge. Like a native, like we're saying the whole natives are what? To be discounted. It all comes from the natives. Even the Buddha was taught by the natives. See? So we're talking about native peeps. It means peeps who are created, right? That is, they are born into a certain level of intelligence. See? Creative intelligence, yes. And they use it to help mankind. And some of us are more natural healers than others. Some of us are more business persons. Some of us are better cab drivers than others. Some of us are better chess players than others. Some of us are better, what is the word? Memory bots, So, memory bots. You can throw away, an encyclopedia because their memories are so, cultured, so accurate and precise. No, you don't do that. Not everybody's going to be a memory bot. Nor should everybody be a memory bot. They'll have to depend upon one instead of reading for themselves. The idea is you read the books for yourself to learn what you need to. You go to the teachers yourself to determine what works for you. You go to the healers yourself to determine what heals you. You go to the musicians yourself to determine who is going to inspire you. You go to the painters, you go to everybody. Call them what you want. Go to others and see what they got, if you have to. See what they say everybody says. Is nonsense. Adolescent even. Who can account for all the gurus? Whose ego is so humongous, they're going to talk for all the so-called gurus. Whoever they might be, who knows, who cares? Right? So we're talking about something that's almost absurd in nature. But when we're talking about the Heart Sutra, yes, the Heart Sutra, from supposedly the Buddha, one of the Buddhas, or whoever representing the Buddha says, no, not this. It is not that. It is not this, not this, not your senses, not your body, not your environment, not your family, not your world, no. I mean, there's something more quintessentially real than that. Chances are that the no-gurus are trying to get to that point, which is Buddhism, the heart of it. Or it's Christian, if we say the Spirit. I mean, just say the Spirit. You have to say everybody goes to hell. We don't need nuns, and we don't... There are great humans in all kinds of garb, everywhere. In police uniforms, in plumbers' uniforms, and criminals. Even criminals have it in them too. The darkest have it in them. It's just a matter of circumstances. Whether or not that comes out or this comes out depends on the circumstance. Even people in combat depends on the circumstance. See? Depends on the spirit of the moment. See, the Tao. Then we're talking about the Tao, the nature, the universe, coming through an individual. Without the universe, you'd have no individual, so-called individual. So we need to fall back on a deeper understanding, native understanding. See, prior to the forms of culture that we have here, it's native. See, it's earth. What I'm saying is earth awareness. Yeah. See, prior to people awareness, they have earth awareness. It's also extremely intelligent, very sharp. Manifesting through all the myriad types of creatures, right? With solutions, with abilities and skills, special powers. All this goes back to, the microbial. where you see them fending for themselves, you know. See, talking about atomic intelligence then. So we need to get back to that with all due regard to our need to be friends amongst each other and not sort of be posturing ourselves as better or greater necessarily than everybody else. You know, maybe some peeps you might be able to excel as a tennis player and get a gold medal one day and not the next day. Someone else come up of lesser ability and humiliate you. This could happen. You know. So there's a native approach to all of this. And I think the native approach that I'm speaking from and coming from is a hard approach to it. That says, yeah, no, nothing in the way. No, nothing in the way of goodness. No, nothing in the way of sharing grace with other peeps. Nothing really in the way of that. Yeah. And then we go from there to other academic schools of theories concerning reality and what it is and what it isn't, and how it shows up at one stage of the game and then how it shows up at the next stage of the game. So we go to the Dharma, we go to the Far East sport, and you see that the moon is the moon is not the moon, and the moon is the moon. You are what you are not what you are what you are. Something is, it isn't, and it is again. See? Ultimately, everything just is. So, you know, there's the as it is. As it shows up and as it appears and as it is, it includes everything. As it is, it could be. As it is the way it was. As the way it is, as it is the way it's becoming also. So all of these things are part of the, let's say, the process of understanding change and that which doesn't change. They run side by side. The unchanging changes. See? What changes is the unchanging. So there's a paradox there that's useful up to a point, because you have to forget about duality altogether in all of its ramifications in order to have real peace, because we are by nature clear light peace. That's native. That's not something you learn in school because it's what you are. If it's what you are, then it's native. All you need to do is understand what you are. Comment now.
So does this way of pointing towards what is not the Dharma?
Everything is a Dharma. I think it was Huang Po that at least maybe one of a zillion peeps that came to the realization. The Dharma that is not the Dharma is the true Dharma. So it's a paradox. It's like saying, who knows? It's a big question mark. That means don't kill yourself trying to figure it out. There's nothing to figure out when it comes to that. So get busy with what you have to do. It's not negating anything. And the idea is enabling everything in terms of your creative intelligence, not disabling it. I'm telling you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, it appears to be that. No. I think the process for creative genius, as I speak for it in certain times, as a musician, musicians come to me with their problems. So, well, you have to meditate in a sense. You do. Not because I'm a guru or anything. We just need to do what the animals do. We need to do what nature is. Also rest, be clear, be silent. And everything's still going on. Be silent. Watch everything happen. Because everything's always happening. So then meditation is not even meditation as a routine, it's a state of mind. We can say the deer are in a state of meditation, because they're not, how else, we know, because we see and we feel them. Gentle, and calm, quiet, and active, playful. Same with the other animals. And you have other types of animals that are ferocious. And there's something serene about that, like serene about, solar flares. There's something serene about it, very lawful. Yeah, it's devastating the earth, relatively speaking. So we have to understand the real nature of what it is and go back to original intelligence, which is a native thing. Where we are, who we are, what we are, nature, earth, as earth beings. And capable of the depth of the earth, the silence of the earth. And just to know that we're being meditated on by the mother. It's not by the abstract father, it's by the living mother. Say, you go and you take from her bounty, nourish yourself. Nothing abstract about it. Very, very real. the fruits of the earth, very real, which are part of the universe, which we see again in terms of the Tao, the whole system. And allowing it to be is what grace is about. Say, oh, gurus, who cares about it? They're gurus enough. Of course they're gurus. There's anything you think of. That's it. There's room for everything. And any man from the lowest ranks up can be brilliant. So who's going to say anything to contradict that? You start as a paper boy at the base of a newspaper, let's say, corporation. He's just a little paper boy. A bat boy in the baseball. He started as a bat boy. Start at the bottom. What's unsacred about the bottom? That all baseball players have to be thrown in some kind of garbage because, baseball is just nonsense. No. For some person, it might be nonsense. For some person, the guru is nonsense. Depends on what you are trying to be that you failed at. For the creative intelligence, no, you do it. You claim it. You do it, you can be it. You go with it. You integrate yourself relative to it, and then you start to become it. You conceive of it. You work with it, create it. And you become it. We're here to master. That means to do well. Become masters. It means accomplishers. To get the job done. And there are all different levels of that. And we have to have the mind of intelligence, creative intelligence, to understand the relative value of what that is. You're training on the diamond, right? The baseball diamond. You're training there and you're throwing, let's say you're playing pitcher. You throw 50 times, you get one into the catcher's mitt. Masterfully. Good, it can be done. And you hone in on it. So training. Training is what enables people to do better. We're all here to do better. There's no question about it. And the potential, because we know human potential is infinite. And the potential is there. So to say that there's no potential is a lie. To say that there are no gurus is another lie. And to say that everybody is just garbage is another lie. So we have to be careful of what we're preaching. It comes back to reflect upon us, our own inadequacy and our own closed-mindedness to what's real out here. And what's real out here is potential. Creative potential, spiritual potential, religious potential, creative potential. We're breathing, so there's breathing potential, there's space potential, and the creative people understand this. Musicians know this, because they got to work. They got to work with space. They got to work with time, and harmony, and rhythm, and all of that is what nature is as well.
It seems like a lot of the obstacles to our potentials are in the thought process, how we talk to ourselves, how we think about things. So is the meditation process there to eradicate or cease thinking?
Well, see, let me make this clear to the people. There's spontaneous meditation, then there's routine meditation. For me as a musician, as a child, it was spontaneous. So I said, no, this happens. So I can say, no, this happens. It happened here. I'm not going to say that because it happened here, it's going to happen everywhere. No, it's understanding of relativity from the beginning. Some do, some don't. So it depends on how you use whatever you understand meditation to be, as let's say a moment of quietness. Now there are Zen masters, like in the case of Dzogchen, said, hey, just sitting is enlightenment. Well, there's profundity in that. Well, there's truth in it. But then there's a relative side of it too. Who sits? And what happens? Same with the guitar. I say, well, if you play this, you're going to be a master. Maybe, maybe not. Just holding it doesn't mean you're a master. Does not mean you have freedom to express everything you could possibly want to express in your imagination. It doesn't mean that. Just sitting doesn't mean you're going to come into full-blown Buddhahood as such. Maybe. For some, maybe. So it's possible it's there. possible. But whether it's a fact, that's to be seen. And creative people are open to it. See, the idea is that creative intelligence is really open to whatever it is. You know, destruction, creation, recreation is an open. Yeah, so yeah, it happens. It can happen. We're earth beings. Everything is possible. From earth, everything happens. See, so as an earth being, which is being intergalactically fed, cosmically informed, yeah, there's a lot to be open to. But then there's a lot to create, because we're open, we can create. Yeah. We see science, electronic science evolving now, taking these leaps and bounds, say, competitively speaking. You see that, and that's because it's mind opens more. The mind is infinite. So you see these people, more and more, not that they're all geniuses, no, but they're technicians coming up, call them what you want, but these are technicians who are following in the ranks of other technicians. They don't even have to invent things, but then they come up with ideas because they see gaps in the process, and they say, well, this is not there yet, so hey, I'm a genius now. Right? Maybe not, but you're serving a purpose, seeing there's a gap. See, filling a little gap here and there, not genius, exactly. Right.
And do we need to develop intelligence in terms of what we open to, and maybe not be open to everything?
Well, I think we need to be open to developing intelligence, in a sense. And that's what the meditation traditions are about. Giving you a basis of sitting and relaxing so that you can start to recreate. Yeah? Because every moment creates. So if you stop, then if you stop long enough, then you start to create accordingly from the stop point. That means that other karma from, let's say, before, when you were super neurotic, mad, insane, individual, out of control, that karma starts to readjust itself and adapt itself to the sitting. So then sitting, doing nothing is profoundly creative, in a matter of speaking. People don't see it because their minds are closed. They're looking at appearances like no gurus, right? No gurus are good gurus. They're no gurus. Right? It's kind of like a mind, it catches attention. Doesn't mean anything. Geniuses are going to storm through no matter what. And they are gurus. You can trust them. So the idea they're no gurus is the myth. There are geniuses here, and they're going to do what they have to do, because that's what a genius is, driven from within and driven from beyond. And they have an agenda that's intense and strong. And they will do what they have to do. Okay. And everyone else is maybe acting accordingly, hoping to get to a certain level of creative, say, resonance with manifestation of their abilities and so on.
So what appears or shows up as non-doing is very possibly a higher form of doing?
Non-doing is not so much a higher form of doing. Non-doing, then, depending on what you mean by that, if we're talking non-doing, that's a result that comes later on in the process. Because most people start as children. So they learn and they do. Some, in my case, I knew that something else was doing it, but being born to spiritualists, that's the bottom line. Let spirit do it. See, so I was halfway there already from the get-go. Yeah, so let it do it. So you see that we can say the unconscious. Let the unconscious do it. Let spirit do it. Yeah. I'm saying let it do good things. Yeah, can do it. So you have subconscious, hypnotic training, right? Hypnotism. And that works to a certain degree. You can retrain yourself. You can cause the reactive unconscious to kind of get in line. The mind is dog begging to be trained, no doubt.
So it's a form of freedom from doing as any kind of
we can't say, listen, you can put it in those terms, but that's too static. It's not anything. The creative intelligence is going to have its way to a certain degree. It needs help. The idea is to give it the help it needs. In everybody's case. See, it needs help. Everybody's this well, this huge potential. but let's say they're born into karma, so there are debts to be paid, there are balances to be negotiated somehow. See? So to undo the blocks. See? Sometimes, you know, like even in the ancient teachings, they would say, oh, you can't do this until the seeds are burned. You have to burn those seeds out, those tendencies. You have to burn them off somehow. You gotta work them through and exhaust them. So, oh yeah, I've eaten so many pizzas, you know. Hey, I think I'm going to try a hero, a submarine, and then you exhaust that. And it's not that it's even about food. It's whatever the image is for you, or whatever it feels like, or whatever your relationship is to a hero, sandwich, right, or a pizza. Whatever that means. Yeah. And then before long, after the body gets the message, oh, it doesn't need this anymore, then maybe you and your body, right, your drives, your hunger, your desires, come to a place where, say, what's next? Yeah. What's next? And you see that there's maybe a creative opening here. What's next? Is there more than food of this sort? Now, what are the conditions that precipitate some of this what's nextness? It depends on the individual. For me, it was the military, which is discipline, extreme discipline. It wasn't like warmongering exactly, although I was open to that at the time, but it wasn't that. It wasn't about having anything to do with war, just working with conditions. Knowing something had to be done, and I had to do it, and I had to deal with what in me was resisting the doing. So that was a thing that I had to use to a degree as an individual, let's say a spirit or whatever we are, an earth being. I had to use that to the degree that there was some mutual gratification. Say, I'm doing this for the country, great. Then at some point I had to do something for me, the country I am. And that was to play music. And I started that in the Army Band. So the Army Band opened up, you know, the universe to me. It just so happened it was a band, Army Band. It could have been Juilliard. It happened to be the Army Band, so I said, all you know, honor and exaltation goes to where it happened, and the conditions there. Coming.
So would you say that fulfillment of desire is a way to extinguish desire?
No, I think we need to look a little bit closely at what tantric understanding is. It's much deeper than just indulging yourself. It has to be. The masters were not idiots. Perhaps we get from these ancients, even like Jesus, to say there's much more there than meets the eye and the ear. There's much more there. I think it was John who said, St. John said, if we were going to get everything down, and there couldn't be enough room to fill the books based upon what was understood, seen, or heard during that particular 3-year period. It's unbelievable. But who knows? I'm open. So we're talking about the potential now for everybody. And we need to some degree, recognize the potential we're talking about. So the potential has to be taught in school. It's not something that you gotta wait till you're down and out to come to terms with, and then you're ready to join a monastery. Because you're down and out, your economics don't exist, so then you go to a monastery. You don't have to wait that long. See, this should be understood at the beginning of potential, not just educational potential, but spiritual, creative potential at the very beginning. And I'm sure, you know, individual teachers, gurus, academic gurus, are inspiring the children to do that. I'm supposing that's the case. And then it's up to the individual guru, teacher, academic, say, classroom agent, to see who's responding, who they can feed. See, so then it's a matter, it's reciprocation. Say, you're giving an idea to somebody and they fly with it. The next person is not getting it because you haven't given them, you haven't tuned into them to know what their inspirational ideas. So then it's up to us as intelligences to try and tune in to others and know how to feed them, what to feed them. That's what a guru sometimes can do. Yeah. Yeah. But then who's not a guru? And we have to go to that revelation. Who's not in charge of sharing and enhancing the life of the next person.
And does this ever come unasked? Does the guru wait for
Well, it
an
depends.
invitation?
You see, There's a traditional understanding guru, which is establishment based. Then there's a native understanding, the person who knows something that other people don't know exactly that way. And some people, as we say, certain geniuses or whatever, born a certain way. Some schools say you can't be born, you got to be made. That's a lie. That's another lie. You can be born that way. And you can be born another way. You're born into it. You can start out early. It's timeless. We're talking about timelessness. Okay? That's part of our nature, it's timelessness. Nowness, timelessness. It's human. It's reality.
So by stepping outside of the world and sitting, we actually can reconnect with it at a deeper...
Well, you're never outside of the world. I'm glad you brought that up, because sitting means you are what it is. Sitting's a metaphor for getting in touch with, being. You don't have to just sit. You can be sitting up here and doing all kinds of... You can be throwing a football, throwing like a home run, let's say football, goal winning. Touchdown, yes. One of these things you can be throwing like the greatest touchdown in the world. And not even be there. The body's doing that. See, the body's doing that. You're in the stillness. But you're watching the body, you're letting the body do what the body's trained to do. See, so a person is sitting, but you're throwing the ball at the same time. Same with the Olympians, all these extreme peeps. See, they train the body so that they can sit in the process, see, and watch it, and then, push as needed.
So this creates effects for other people that they're not necessarily feeling themselves.
Yeah, so sitting is a meditational device. And many people actually have to physically sit for that. Get the body down to the earth. So then we become more earthbound, more earth-centered. This is obvious. Sit down, relax. See? Relax, recognize, and maybe realize. It's a formula of sorts. Yeah, relax, settle down. And see in settling down, see what the body has for you, maybe, something.
So there would be then a lot of levels of sitting, a lot of levels of silence.
Exactly, and so that could mean different things for certain people. Maybe they're sitting down reading the newspapers, they're still in this point. They have to know that. So from this point of view of creative intelligence, it's hard to dictate to anybody. People need to understand and adapt what it is to their situation, their karma, and their view, and find their peace as they move through their own time-space world, the world of their creation.
So it's possible to live or experience the spiritual without ever thinking of it in spiritual terms, or...
The spiritual is, right? It means the subtle, the essence, the etheric already existing. It means the non-material. Without the non-material, we have no material. Material is the conduit of the immaterial. They work together. This is part of the understanding. So the guru and the student, they work together. Yeah. The inner and outer master are the same thing. Related to the same thing. Awakenment. See? So that you're okay, you're complete, you do what you have to do, without all the confusion, without all the upset, even though that's going to arise anyway. If you don't generate it yourself, you're going to pick it up in the field, so you have to know what to do with it. And then there's something maybe beyond that, because we leave this dimension, so. Yeah. It's not all about gravity, it's about levity too. So it's equal. Gravity, levity, and transcendence, neither, so on. Common sense.
And what part does the rational or logical mind play while all this is...
The theoretical part is critical to have it. You need to know about it before you can realize it. Many cases, and we're talking about, well, that's the natural order of things. That's why education is critical. And the proper education is very critical. And most of us, we go through the education, we throw it away. It sets in motion what we need to be able to adapt and communicate and continue living. I think we can live from that. You don't have to be exercising your mathematical skills in every case, these days anyway. You can take what you need from that. The idea, of course, is to find some kind of balance, so that you can start finding some forward motion. You can integrate balance, stress and non-stress, so you can feel you can keep moving. So you need to put the pain down, bring the pain threshold down so you can keep moving, and keep doing, and keep being. And it's good practice.
And how do you bring the pain threshold down? Is that through tolerance and
It depends on
conditioning?
what your pain is. Of course, it depends on what you have to do and what your pain is. For some peeps, if you work in an emergency room, you see all kinds of pain. Yeah. All kinds of pain. And you can't tell a person who's screaming at the top of their lungs they don't have the pain, because that is the pain. So they're voicing that pain with a broken bone or something, compound fracture. They're singing the song of compound fracturedness. And that's what it is for them now, because they can calm down, and you give them some medication, they can calm down. Now you have the rare person that can have that injury, like it does happen in combat, where the person's calm and their body is mangled. They're calm. There's scientific terminology that sort of corroborates that. They're no longer in the body of pain. So there is that possibility to not be in the body of pain. But you can't tell a person, when they're in such torment, be in the body of no pain. Could work. It's a good suggestion. That doesn't mean it's going to be fruitful to a certain degree. Depends. Part of our life is to be suffering in agony, to know what agony is and defeat is. We are here as humans to experience that, the ecstasy, of winning, success coming.
As compassionate beings, what do we do with each other's pain?
Well, understand it. That's all you can do is understand it. Doesn't mean you have to be it. The idea is to understand something and not have to be it. Beyond the point. So there's sympathetic resonance. You're going to work with that. That's the beauty of it to a certain degree, because then you know what it is. You feel each other. That happens in families. That's your proving ground is in the family, and then you go out there. You take what you've learned in the family to other people, and of course you keep learning. You keep depending on gurus to help you, whether they're medical teachers or scientists or whatever. You keep depending on those people who are more extremely dedicated to knowledge and science and knowing things.
Is this part of the practice to work with people's pain and understand it? And is that part of spiritual
practice?
practice?
There's so many different kinds of pain and levels of pain. You have to understand. Sometimes a person's in agony, then they see your face, and then they stop because you have the right face. The right body shape. In some cases. Or you come in the right timing, and you're representing the right timing. So it's still mysterious. And of course, science is still mystified by nature. There's still a lot of mystery there to go around. It has its own way of doing things and revealing that nobody's really in control to a certain degree. There's some control, but then there's something else going on.
And so, with the no guru, is the idea to just observe and let it go?
No, you live your life. You give it all you have. Just observe. Don't be passive. Be active. Be dynamic. Live your life to the fullest. That's what it is. And let that teach you. My music's extreme. I play to the highest degree I can. My hand is already gone already. I've blown my hand out. I've blown my heart out. I've blown my brain out, so to speak, from it. But it's just another step on the path. That's what research and exploration is about. Accepting the limits and going beyond the limits, pushing beyond. That's what it is to be human. It's beautiful.